Ow. What's up, everyone? Punchy back with Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 4, Himatsubushi. I took a little bit of time to practice how to say it, because I know last time I had trouble getting to Higurashi Dam, but we're on it this time. Anyway, we're starting the fourth chapter, which you guys have said is kind of like a side chapter, a short chapter, which is alright. Fine with that. What's interesting to me, though, from this already, is that in the all-cast review session, they said Shion would be the main character, or at least she and Punchy and her announced that she would be the main character. Yeah, chapter 4. Because you guys won't be able to see it, but the icons that I have that goes when it plays, like on your toolbar on the bottom. It's Rika-chan. Because the first one was for Onakakushi was Rena. Second one, Watadagashi, was Mion. Third one, Tatagoroshi, was Satoko. And fourth one, I expected it to be about Rika-chan, but for some reason the main character has always been us, but then yeah, I guess that makes sense. Anyway, I've already gone nearly 2 minutes and we're just getting into it. Himatsubushi, for you the final mystery. I know and trust you with all the mysteries hidden within Higurashi When They Cry. However comical it may be, if you have reached any conjecture, then you have passed. This final novel is a meager reward for you. Conjecture is impossible. You have the right to reject this story. I don't exactly understand that, but I will take it. You have the right to reject the story. Does that mean... Okay. Who is the criminal, you ask? Don't we search for them in this story? Who is the criminal, you ask? Do you even know what the criminal did? Who is the criminal? Who is the criminal who we kill now? Frederica Bern-Castell. And these things like underneath her name, they're not English, right? Midsummer, 1985. I misread the time and ended up arriving too early. The schedule board flipped with a series of clacks. My flight to Sapporo was still a bit later on. I still had over an hour before boarding. Well, I might as well close my eyes for a bit on that bench over there then. I came here directly from work, so maybe the fatigue from that was making me sleepy. Finding a suitable bench, I put my luggage on the seat next to me and settled down. Whew. I sighed like an old man. I'd hoped to stay young forever, but had become splendidly middle-aged. Apparently, the rumor that even people in the latter half of their 20s experience a decline in their physical strength wasn't a lie. I'm just starting that. I'm 26, turning 27, and I can tell you it's true. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really been, working out, eating healthy, so it's kind of my fault. It had been mind-numbingly busy at work lately, so I rarely had any time for myself. This might have been the first time I've been able to enjoy a journey alone like this since I was a student. The reason behind this trip was to meet with an old friend. It was a bit strange to call him an old friend. In fact, it might be better to call him a bad one. After retiring a couple of years ago, he moved to Sapporo, his mother's hometown. His mother passed away soon after, and he was now peacefully enjoying his second lease on life. Oh, wow. His name was Kurado Oishi. Kurado Oishi, there you go. Something like that. He was a former detective from the Primary Investigation Unit at the station in Okinomiya Prefecture. To be honest, the only direct contact we ever had didn't last more than 3 days. After that, we exchanged New Year's cards, but never met again. So this would be the first time meeting him in 7 years. In other words, we met 7 years ago, in 1978. There was something I just had to ask, to talk to him about concerning that time. To explain that, it was impossible not to recall the incident that happened back then. That kidnapping, the details, the resolution of which which were resigned to darkness. Also, it was impossible not to recall a certain mysterious girl. My name is Mamoru Akasaka. It was a year that had been strangely hot, even though it was only June. June's always hot though, isn't it? I guess it's different in Japan. Early summer, 1978. Back in time we go. Goodbye, teacher. Okay, bye. Watch out for cars. And don't drop in at a friend's house along the way. Make sure you get your textbooks in order for tomorrow before you go to bed. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The lively sounds of children running towards the hallway. Hey now, didn't I tell you before? I already have one of those. I don't need any more. The unique high-pitched voice of youth. The energetic shrill of the cicadas went completely unheard by their ears. Children returning home from school split off one by one from their groups of friends as they went through intersections in the residential area. Even though there were several of them in a group, as they left the school, as they got closer, that was kind of weird. As they got closer to their homes, their numbers dwindled. That's why the fewer friends you were walking home with acted as an indicator that you were that much closer to your destination. Later. See ya. Yeah, see you tomorrow. He finally parted ways with his last friend. A van was parked at a bend in the road. The window was open and the sound of the radio leaking outside. It must have been the news or something. For that reason, the three of them were arrested for traffic violations and obstructions of justice due to the protests against the Hinamizawa Dam project resulting in bloodshed when clashing with riot police last month. Things have only become more violent. The police are therefore taking precautions against radical activists, causing yet another incident. Last week, there was also a direct confrontation with Minister Inugai on the steps of the Ministry of Construction. The boy's ears perked up at the mention of the name Inugai. At that moment, a man's face peeked out suddenly from the window of the van. His behavior was a little different than that of a man looking around to see if there was any incoming traffic before he opened the door of his vehicle. His eyes meeting suddenly with the unfamiliar man, the boy panicked slightly. Nightingale, okay? Skylark, okay? They secured the 2 blocks around us. We're good to go. The man in the passenger seat whispered quietly. Nodding in acknowledgement, the man opened the door and stood before the boy. You. Are you Toshiki Inugai-kun? While asking that, the man peered at the boy's name tag. Toshiki Inugai. The name was written plainly there. The phone rang for a third time. If he reached out, he could easily pick up the receiver. However, he was concerned that if he picked it up before it had even finished ringing once, whoever was on the other end of the line would think him a fairly cheap person. That's why he normally never picked up the phone until the 3rd ring. Even he thought it was a worthless habit. It is. However, his thinking that there isn't much meaning in waiting for just 3 rings. Would waiting for 5 be alright? Was very much a reality. His mind filled with such trifling thoughts, he picked up the phone after the 3rd ring had finished, its reverb dampened by his action. Yes? Hello? Hello? He knew that sometimes due to a malfunction at the switchboard calls didn't connect well. At those times, it was best to hang up and let the person on the other end call again. Thinking that, the moment he began to hang up the phone, he sensed that he was definitely connected after all. He felt the presence of a person on the other end of the line, keeping silent. Hello? There was no way they didn't hear his question. What was the meaning of this? It wasn't like he didn't know that people could use silent calls to harass others. However, he'd never received a call like that until today. Maybe he was just lucky before, but he didn't believe that he would receive such a call on this phone. There were no direct calls to or from this line. Everything had to go through an operator. Therefore, there's absolutely no way the call would be connected unless it was verified there was somebody else on the other end of the line. That's why he didn't understand how to deal with this silent call, and instead settled into confusion. I don't know who you are, but if you have nothing to say, I'm going to hang up. Please call again some other time. Intending that to be the parting line, he made a slam down the receiver. It was at the moment the other person on the other end of it spoke for the first time.
You didn't say who you were, so I was anxious. If you're not Mr. Inukai, please hang up right away.
He couldn't help but be surprised by the extremely strange voice on the other end of the line. Was there a human alive who could speak with this hoarse and metallic voice? No, this was a voice he had heard somewhere before. That was the kind of voice that was on the lowbrow documentaries that they'd use when they wanted to hide the identity of a speaker, wasn't it? The voice he was hearing over the line was exactly that. Who are you?
As I said, that's what I want to ask. Are you Minister Inukai?
He, Inukai, hesitated to answer. Unable to discern the intent of this suspicious phone call, he had a vague feeling that something was off. He thought about hanging up the phone and asking the operator who initiated the call. However, he forced himself to restrain that urge, and for the time being, chose to state his name and listen. That's right, this is Inukai. I said my name, and how you say yours.
My name doesn't matter. First of all, let's begin by thinking about the situation you're in right now. Right now, you're sitting in your chair, talking on the phone, yes? Then why don't you try opening the lower drawer to your right?
The lowest drawer to the right of the minister's chair. There was a lock on it, not enough to function as a safe, but nevertheless, it was a drawer that contained some valuable things. That's why Inukai thought that the person wanted some of the important information contained within that drawer. Sorry, but I don't have any intention of opening that. I have no reason to follow orders from somebody who won't even give his name.
If you don't open that drawer, I'll hang up the phone. You'll most likely end up regretting that. Why don't you think about opening that drawer first?
Inukai didn't like following orders from this suspicious person one bit. However, he was concerned about what the man said about regretting it, so he decided to open the drawer. He took the small key he kept stowed in his wallet and unlocked the drawer. His hand stopped right before he opened it. What if there was a bomb inside? And it would explode if the drawer was opened. That delusion took hold of him. He quelled that instinct and opened it.
Did you do it? The thing that's in there, do you know what it is?
What is the meaning of this? Hey!
I don't think there's any need for me to explain, is there? I'll give you some time, so please think about it a little. I'll contact you again later. Now then, pardon me.
Hey! Wait! Hello? Hello? The call had already ended. That wouldn't change no matter how much he yelled at it. Even still, Inukai, without realizing it, continued yelling into the receiver for a while. The drawer was still open. On top of the folders crammed in the drawer, it lay there. Toshiki Inukai, written in plain lettering on a grade school's name tag, just lying there. Enshrined there, completely out of place, as if it were cowering. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to an actual person or organization is entirely coincidental. Well, Higurashi when they cry. Even all before the title, we get a kidnapping, and an old kidnapping. If it's talking about Oishi and things, and talking about the dam project, I wonder what happened there, Minister Inukai. Before we get into it, I'm wondering if it's, before, obviously it's before or I guess this is gonna be happening right before the really bad parts of the dam project happening, like the people dying, etc. Wondering, I don't remember who Inugai is. I guess Minister Inugai was the construction, right? So his son kidnapped by people from Hinamizawa, I guess? Do you remember, Yuki? This picture. This is where I first proposed to you. That brief moment before you nodded back. You probably wouldn't know just how much it seemed like an eternity to me. Yes, I would have never thought that amount of time could feel like an eternity. Compared to how long I had to wait for you to propose to me, it was from the moment I met you until today. Compared to the time I've spent since I was born, it might only be a brief period, but they were definitely precious, beautiful days that deserve to be called an eternity. That time continues even now. From now on, I wonder if it'll be a boy. Or maybe a girl. Either one is fine. Boy or girl. Either way, it's living proof that we love each other. If it's a boy, we'll name it after you. Mamoru. If it's a girl, we'll put the Yuki from my name in hers. Thinking about names is so fun that in the end, we still haven't decided yet. There's no time to puzzle over it. Not that long of a time, actually. You see, Yuki, there's something I have to apologize for today. It's my job. Sorry. It looks like an annoying bit of work has come up. In the worst case, I might not be able to be there for the delivery. It's fine. You have a very important job. What you do protects the way we live. Compared to you, it's nothing. Please, go ahead. When you return, I'll be waiting here with our child. Thank you. Also, I'm sorry. Please don't apologize. If you feel guilty about it, then you can just atone. If I atone that much, no matter how much money I have, it won't be enough. Hee. It's a joke. Now, go on. As I left the room, I bumped into an elderly man. It was Yuki's father. In other words, my father-in-law. Father, I didn't want to intrude, so I waited in the hall. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I heard. Go. Yuki is that kind of girl. No matter what happens, she doesn't want to hold you back. I've forced Yuki to give up on so many things. To put her through this during childbirth, such an important time in her life. I'm ashamed. If you really feel that way, when you're done with your work, make some time for Yuki. She'll be happier with that than you passing your work off on someone else. Thank you. I know full well you do important work. Be proud in what you do. Yuki's looking forward to your triumphant return. Yes. Man, this is confusing because so far it's all new characters. I jumped into the taxi that was waiting outside. Compared to the time when I first got here, the numbers on the fare meter have grown considerably. It seemed the modest time Yuki and I had spent together wasn't so modest from an objective point of view. Sorry to keep you waiting. Go ahead. No worries. Well then, off we go. The taxi jerked as it changed gears to accelerate, soon bearing the hospital my wife was in behind a throng of buildings. If it was to end up as a really troublesome ordeal, I probably wouldn't be returning for quite some time. To call a rookie like me, and on top of that, one who's off duty? It seemed that the section chief was calling for all hands on deck. The veteran upper brass gathering on an emergency basis happened occasionally. This was the first time, though, that I experienced everybody gathering together like this. Whatever was happening, there was no doubt it was going to be something novel. Right when my wife was ready to give birth. If I wanted to spend the time to curse my misfortunes, I'd be here all day. Even the verdant ginkgo trees lining the street that always brighten my mood seemed to lack some of their usual luster. Eventually, the government offices came into view. Briefly holding my breath, I let the feelings of tension course through my body once again. I had to remember the work I was doing was important, necessary, and difficult. I composed myself and sharpened my wit. Ready? The taxi stopped in front of the building. Kasumigaseki, Tokyo, Metropolitan Police Public Safety Division. Chief, everyone's here. Akasaka-kun, could you close the blinds? The blinds were usually closed when they needed to use the projector, or if the discussion was going to contain some particularly disturbing content. The blinds closed with a satisfying sound, darkening the interior of the room. Immediately, the inside of the room was drained completely of the pleasant morning atmosphere, leaving behind only the cold illumination of the fluorescent lighting. After the supervisor ensured that everyone was present, he nodded to the section chief once again. With everybody on the edge of their seats, the chief stood up solemnly and began to give his report. Approximately 48 hours ago, the Minister of Construction's grandson, who is also the son of one of his staff leaders, is believed to have been kidnapped. Okay, so yeah. We're assuming that people who kidnapped him was from Hinamizawa because of the dam project, right? It's believed the minister, in an effort to resolve matters amicably, chose not to report the situation to the police and planned to cede to the demands imposed upon him. It seemed that approximately 48 hours earlier, the Minister of Construction's grandson and those of his senior staff members were kidnapped. The reason why it was phrased that way was because the person in question didn't admit it had happened. Based on the results of surveillance conducted on the minister's residence, multiple suspicious phone calls from what is believed to be outside the city took place. The abducted child is said to be under treatment for some illness, but there's no trace of any hospital records or witnesses to such effect. Due to that and various other reasons, we believe without a doubt that a kidnapping has occurred. Here, they omitted the details that brought this incident to light. If you think about it a bit, that means that before this incident happened, the minister's residence had been under surveillance already. I won't use the word spied upon. Of course, there wouldn't be court approval for this, and it would have been very hard to explain to ordinary citizens. However, it was quite an effective method to catch wind of incidents like this before they got worse. I'd like for you to understand that dealing with these cases before they become a problem is the job of the Public Safety Division. Why is he just following their demands instead of reporting this to the police? The fact that a minister can't even trust the police? What is the world coming to? It seems the group of perpetrators demonstrated that they have quite a high level of surveillance on the minister themselves when they conducted the kidnappings. Enough to give the minister pause before calling the police. We'll find out right away if you call the cops, more or less. So it's possible that there's a mole close to the minister. Some of the higher ranking members seem to have experience with this kind of thing, let out deep sighs. The goals of the perpetrators, their demands, as well as this incident are, as of yet, unclear. But in any case, the possibility that this may grow to threaten national interest is extremely high. If their goal was to simply have their demands met for monetary gain, that would have been nice. However, if this was some politically motivated shakeup, things would get a lot more complicated. Since we're not receiving any cooperation from the victim, that means we're not privy to any of the details of the threats or demands. Due to the fact that we believe there may be a mole involved in this incident, this investigation is highly classified. Only the people in this room are to know of this. Furthermore, as this case is our utmost priority, we'll be placing a hold on everybody's normal duties. Understood? After that, the supervisor continued on, tactfully explaining our course of action. If this incident were to become public, it was possible that the minister's political life would be over. I'll spare you the explanation of how the rest of the dominoes would fall, but in the end, support in the Diet would decline, followed by a no-confidence vote and a snap election, and it might even expand communist influences. In other words, we want to handle this delicately. Kawasaki and Seiki monitor communications from the minister and the child's residence 24/7. Find out what the minister is doing. Report anything that happens. The remaining members, investigate whatever is related to the case as assigned to your units. Focus your line of investigation on the commies, Reds, and Confeds. Don't discount the possibility of foreign involvement either. I've experienced one or two unamicable situations before. This, however, was the first time I've seen things get so hectic. Several sophisticated conversations were progressing without the involvement of a rookie like me. I don't intend to be timid, but I couldn't hide my confusion at this unfamiliar situation. And cover that. As for Akasaka-kun, I snapped back to alertness upon hearing my name called. Yes! You investigate the environmental groups that have petitioned the minister. Among them, there is that group protesting the Hinamizawa Dam project that made the papers. Make sure you investigate them thoroughly. I doubt this is the act of some citizen group, but we have to eliminate every possibility we can. Understood. So those opposed to the Hinamizawa Dam, it's probably best if you go to the location personally. Get some information from the local authorities. They're a fairly radical organization, so the Public Safety Division there should have them marked as well. Understood. I'll head over there. Your wife. She's almost ready to give birth, isn't she? I apologize for the timing of all this, but I'm counting on your cooperation. We can't take our time with this, so we just have to brute force it with our boots to the ground. Yeah, I know. My wife hates to interfere with my work. My wife hates to interfere with my work with her own circumstances anyway. Sorry, and thanks. So then, as for Kawasaki-kun and Seiki-kun, to help support your... I didn't want to take a business trip when my wife was about to give birth. Even if I was a little busy, as long as I was in Tokyo, I could head to the hospital right away. On assignment though, that would be difficult. Even so, I knew the work I was doing was important, and fully understood that I was in no position to be so selfish. I had to make it up to my wife for having to be away at such an important time. My wife, Yuki, would probably forgive me with a smile. The only thing she could hate doing would be holding me back. My male ego, though, at least wish she would have tried to stop me. Sorry, Yuki. I don't mind if you always complain to our child that their father couldn't come to the hospital when they were born because he was too busy with work. Alright, I guess we'll stop it there for now. Just like an intro to the story. So we are back in time during the Hinamizawa Dam project, but and there's been kidnappings of the members of the board of the Ministry of Construction. Their grandsons have been kidnapped. I thought it was just son, but their grandsons have been kidnapped and apparently held for some sort of ransom. And yeah, I mean, there's like already mystery. We haven't got to Hinamizawa yet. We're playing, alright, we're maining someone different right now, so we're not even Shion. So it'll take a while to get to that, I suppose, because the guy has to actually get to Hinamizawa for that to even occur. Yeah. Don't know what else to say about this. Beginning of the story, interested in where it's going, and I guess we always hear about it, but now we're like, I guess we're living it. The actual Hinamizawa Dam project era, since we always just kind of suffered from the after effects of it. Yeah, looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. And also, before I started this, I saw someone asking if they to please play Clanad. And I was thinking about it. I know it's like a pretty famous thing. I've never actually watched the anime, so I don't know what it's about. All I know is that it's sad, and there was good music in the anime. So, and also, when you told me that, I happened to see in the store that it was on sale, so I did buy it. Just, yeah, down to playing it. So, look forward to that in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe, and let's see let's see what's happening in old time Hinamizawa. Bye-bye.